Good morning. Hang on tight. This is going to be a long one. Grab your drink and let's go. You're watching Recreational Knitting, and I'm Karen. Welcome. Everybody is welcome here. We talk about yarn, knitting, sometimes crochet, even though I can't do it, and I'm really hoping that somebody can teach me soon. And all the yarny things that we love, and how knitting brings us joy. We have been traveling in our RV for the past 39 months. Yeah, something like that. Almost 40 months. Initially thought to be about 18-month trip to see all the national parks. And I'm wearing my Yellowstone shirt today, not knitted nor crocheted. The trip turned into COVID, a couple operations, and here we are back in Florida after about 39, 40 months on the road. So welcome to you that are new. I hope you find something inspiring here that can help you move on with your knitting, find a new yarn, or just enjoy that. I'm currently at Estero, Florida, which is south of Fort Myers and north of Naples, kind of right in the middle. And I'm at the Koreshan State historic site. It has a campground and a historic settlement based on utopian concepts. I'll do a special segment on that, explaining all of that at some point. But today we're just going to enjoy some beautiful palm trees and some bamboo, and yeah, I'm right in front of the river, and occasionally something will come up. No gators today, I hope. We've seen several here, but not today. Not going to happen today. And if I do see one, the camera's headed that way. All right. Welcome back to those of that you have been following me. I appreciate you and your support so much. Thank you to those who have subscribed, liked, commented, all the stuff. And thank you from the bottom of my heart, those of you that have contributed to my Ko-Fi account. I don't even know what to say. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's get on to some knitting. Last time I had a pretty lengthy podcast about joy and knitting. So this week I decided I'm only going to knit the things that bring me joy. Well, that's true. I really stuck to that. And I don't have any finished objects. I have a half-finished object, which brought me great joy. It's a sock. What else? And it's in the Birdland. It's a shorty. And it's in the Birdland colorway by Barley, Hops, and Yarn. She has an Etsy shop. Her name is Jennifer. And she has graciously given us a code to use in her Etsy shop to receive 15% off. I will put it here and I'll put it down below. Make sure you go check her out. She's got some beautiful colorways, and she's from the Baltimore area as well. And this is the beautiful Birdland colorway. You see all that? It's got a little bit of gray tones, brown tones to it, but it's the black and the orange. Fortunately, those of you that know the Orioles colors know that they're wild and like an awful shade of orange in my estimation. This is much, much nicer. So if you're thinking Halloween socks, this would be a great colorway. If you're not an Orioles fan, and I don't know why you wouldn't be. I mean, come on. They're actually doing well this year. So this is my finished object, and I based this on, whoops, the pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's called the Sail Away Socks. Now, as you can see, they've used contrasting colors, which I love. I love to do that. I didn't do it in this one because I knew I had tons of yarn to get a pair of shorties from. It's a top down, so you must do the Kitchener stitch. And those of you that have trouble remembering the Kitchener stitch, the way I remember it, I don't think I've ever heard this anywhere else. But it's a knit, purl, purl, knit. It's a purl sandwich with 2 knits. So when you go, you knit, slip off, purl, go to the back side, purl, slip off, knit. So you've taken the meat out of the sandwich. It's a keto sandwich. So you've taken the purl meat out of the knit bread. Will that help you? Anybody remember? It's kind of a crazy way to put it, but it's how I remember it. The purl comes off the sandwich because I don't eat the bread because I try to do keto. Anyway, that's my only hoe. I have not started the second one. I just finished this last night. So yeah, hold on while I pick up the yarn I just knocked over. Remember, 15% off all of her yarns in her shop. Thank you, Jennifer. Very, very nice. All right. Oops, let me put the pattern in there. Hoi. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, in no special order. This is my car knitting, and I remembered to actually put it in the car so that I could knit this week. We've been looking for houses and spent quite a bit of time in the car. This is the, oh, am I ever going to remember the name of this? Probably not. Mindful shawl. And you can find this not on Ravelry, but at madewithloops.co.uk. And it's a very simple asymmetrical triangular shawl with a little tricot bind off. And I'm making mine in some yarn that I won from Full Moon Fibers in Canada, in Ontario. And the colorway that I picked was All the Feels, because I was in a neon kind of color way. And can you see where the marker is? Well, let's see, kind of blends in with the yarn, doesn't it? There it is, right there. So yeah, I've made good progress on that. Hi, kayakers. So that lives exclusively in the car. The next work in progress that I have is part of a sock. This brought me great joy just because of the colors. This is Knit Spin Holy Toledo. I'm going to have to cut this out. Knit Spin Farm. Why can't I get that? In her sport weight. This is part of the club that she has each week. This is Knit Spin Farm. Colorway green. I cannot remember it, but it's beautiful. It's part of her monthly yarn club, and it's in Tarhi, 90%, 10% nylon. And last time I had just cast on, so I've made a little bit of progress with a little TV knitting here and there. If you're interested, her link is below. She's having, I got an email from her this week. She's having some kind of a knit along. I didn't really peruse it, but it might be something that you might be interested in. So go to her website, check it out. I think I showed you this weeks ago. Another hoe, almost. I need to put a heel in. Oh, it's an afterthought, the heel. And I've just barely cast on for the second one. And this is West Yorkshire Spinners Farm. West Yorkshire Spinners. It's just really pretty. It's what it works up to be. And I don't know what the colorway is. I've long lost the band. You wouldn't expect anything less, now would you? And I don't even have a bag that I have this in. Holy guacamole. It's true. Let me show you my progress on my anchor tee. This would have brought me great joy this week, but I stayed away from it. I've knit about, what, 6 rows there? And this is my favorite pattern, I think. Anchor shirt by Petite Knits, made in Remix Light. You can see that it's navy now that I'm out in the nice sun. Haven't done much on it. I kept looking at the bag and said, no, let's work on the Yume, which is coming up next. I have a sleeve, just one, but I have started the second. All right, let me get the front. There's the sleeve, short sleeve, twisted rib. This is made in Queensland, United Marsh color. And I have started the second sleeve. So maybe next week, I'll actually be wearing a new garment. And that's what I'll be looking like. What do you think? I do like this yarn. It's a bit scratchy now, but from what I understand, once you block it, give it a nice soak, it really softens up nicely. The content is 55 wool, 45 cotton. That might be a lie. It might be reverse, but it's not 50-50. That's it for finished objects, half-finished objects. let's go into some administrative type of knitting. You guys help me pick out my next cast on, which will be the Salty Air Tea, and that is by Samantha Guerin. I apologize. I'm likely to have butchered that in many, many ways. That will be my next cast on, and you guys voted on that, and I appreciate it. I think it'll be a fun knit. Then I asked you last week, green or pink, and I gave you the option of choosing what color sweater I was going to make. And those of you that responded, 22 for the pink and 23 for the green. Can you believe it? That was close. So I've got my needles together, got all that stuff going here into a ball of yarn. I will be using its Jody Long Alba, and that's really what it looks like. It's a beautiful tweed, fingering to light sport. What do you think? Can you see it? So that's what I will be making for my next sweater, thanks to you. Now I'm going to ask you to join in. Whatever cast on you want. I'm going to cast this on June the 1st. And if you would like to cast on with me the Salty Air Tea, or another summer tea, or a blanket, or a pair of socks, doesn't really matter. Just cast on with me, and I'll show you my progress each week on this, and there might be prizes. Yeah, another giveaway. So that's what my plans are for that. I want to get a couple things off the needle before I do cast on, but I'm excited. I'm really excited. I see that and I see, I love that color. It's joyful to me. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to have a beautiful lime green, and I keep hitting the mic. Sorry about that. I'm going to have a beautiful lime green sweater at the end of this short sleeve sweater. I hope you're still working on your spring fling. Keep working. Put anything into that group on Ravelry under Recreational Knitting. Keep putting it in. I'll be picking a prize winner probably on the 1st of June, and we'll see who wins. Speaking of winners, I still haven't gotten addresses for the winners from last time. Yvette Christine Ward, I can read my writing today, and Suzanne Rudolph, if you could please send me your address so I can get those out of my bedroom, and my husband will stop looking at them like they're in my way. Okay, I'm going to put the email right here. Remember, there's a dot in it. That's important. Give me your address and I'll get those prizes right out to you. Again, whoever gets to me first gets the first choice of the yarns. All right. This week, I went over 1,000 subscribers. YouTube sent me an email, woohoo, you got 1,000 subscribers. So I started the whatever you do, the paperwork, to become monetized so I can collect my 67 cents every month. So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, we'll do this together. You can laugh at me on that side of the camera. Yeah, I'm not sure how it all works. I guess I will find out. But I do know that the ads are things that, while annoying, unless you have premium, they're there. And so if you would, at that time, start to watch one or two here and there, that'd be Much appreciated. It will help me get the prizes out to you with the postage being what it is, and to purchase patterns for giveaways. So I do appreciate that. Let's see here. Is that the end of all of that? It is. I've gotten a couple new items that I purchased this week. Straight from England. Too beautiful. And I'm hoping you can really see the color because it's really quite lovely. And I know it's going to work up lovely. This is from Mousewitch Yarn, and it's $75.25 fingering weight, and it's called Peach Parfait. And this is made by Mandy or Mouse from Mouse Knits. And I ordered 2 of these. I don't know what I will be doing with them. However, they have little bits of pink and orange and yellow in them. I don't know whether you can really see that well, but very light, which is again great for Florida. And I'd like to make a fade. And I didn't know what I would need, so I ordered 2. And I'm thinking, maybe, I don't know, but they're beautiful and I love them. Thank you, Mandy. They're beautiful. They're ever so slightly peachy. She's quite talented. She just started dyeing, I think last year, and now selling her wares on her Ko-Fi account, and really has made some lovely colors. And I look at my stash and I say, you know, I've got so much darker, so I thought I need some lighter things in my life. The sun is one of them. So that's a great purchase. And then I like to go to thrift stores. And it was so interesting to go into a thrift store and find this after last week's podcast. Kind of gave me, like, you know, the heebie-jeebies, you know, what do you call them? You know, little tingles up your spine. Go, oh, that's meant to be. I haven't read it. I've perused it. Maybe there's some very wise words in there. I'm sure there are. There's some patterns in here. It doesn't look like it's even been cracked. So I got that for, I think, $2 at a thrift store. And I feel like I made out quite well. All right. One more thing that I wanted to share with you from my stash. Several months ago, I made a pair of shorties from the yarn Kobasi by Haiku. And here they are. They are fraternal twins because I only, one skein will not make a pair of shorties. I ended up having to buy a 3rd skein to finish, I think, this toe in Asheville, North Carolina. And I finished them, and I've been wearing the tar out of them. I wear them in the RV, I wear them when I'm working here. I even go outside and, you know, into the ice chest or into the car in my stocking feet. Yeah, I'm one of those. They've been through many, many washings, and while slightly faded, they are wearing quite well. They are made of cotton, bamboo, and silk, Kobasi. And the heel still looks great. They do take a while to dry because of that cotton. But here in the Florida sun, you throw them out on the picnic table, within a half hour, you could probably wear them. Yeah, so those are wearing well. Some of you wanted to know. So, what did I do? I got a bag of yarn. Guys, this has got to stop. I need this like I need a hole in the head. But it was from Little Knits and it was on sale. So I got 2 kiwis. Now remember, one will not make a pair of shorties. So if I want a plain pair of shorties, I have to buy the second one, and I'll have most of that skein to use. Again, this is pumpkin. 2 pumpkins. 2 iris blue. And 3 of the Curacao. Never knew how to say that. Would love to go to that country. This is my favorite color. And I thought I would make everybody some in the family, some shorties from these. So yeah, and then because they only had one little one of these left, it's slated. I thought, okay, toes for that if needed, toes for that if needed, and toes for that if needed. So you're going to see quite a few bamboo, silk, and cotton socks, shorties, being knitted up now that we're back in Florida. I'd like to share with you. This week, as I said, I've tried to stay on the joy of knitting road, and I have. I really stuck to that this week. I did about 4 inches of my habitation throw. A finished object is my Hume Isabel Kramer. That's the objective, and that will bring me joy. And I love to make socks. And I love the Orioles. So those are all very joyful knitting kinds of things. We don't have a lot of control in this world. And this past week here in America, we've had more tragedy than we need to. And I'm just going to say that we really have very little control. But what we do have control of to bring us joy is knitting. It's interesting that all you need is, some yarn, a couple pair of needles, needle. You can knit a scarf or a hat. And maybe that's one of the reasons that we're attracted to it, because it's simplistic. Even though many of the designs and items that we choose to knit are complex in nature, they really are just a knit and a purl stitch. The other stuff is gravy. Knitting is slow and not really economical these days. At one time it was, especially if you were the farmer. But it is full of love and thought and care. And this is where I'd like for you to put a comment in below. You can tell me anything you want, anything at all, that's brought you joy over the week. Doesn't have to be knitting related necessarily, but I'll pick a winner in 2 weeks for a pattern. So just leave a comment of something that's brought you joy this past week. We have to remind ourselves. Joyful knitting, it's a thing. And speaking of joyful knitting, you may or may not know this, but Saturday, June the 10th, 2023 is Worldwide Knit in Public Day. I challenge you to find on their website a group that you might be able to join. www, and I'll put it right here, www.kipday.com. If you don't have a group near you, a lot of the yarn stores have them, but there's also community groups. I know there's one here in Estero. I will be having to work that day, but there's one in Estero that is going to meet at the Panera Bread locally. And so look on there, see if there's one in your locale, and see if you can meet up with them. It's a great way to meet other knitters who are passionate about this hobby that we love. And I challenge you also, before you leave, wherever you knit in public, whether it's with a group or a park bench by yourself, throw in an extra ball of yarn, a couple of needles, and see if you can get somebody to try to learn to knit. Cast on those stitches, get them ready, and just show them how to do a knit stitch. I did that about 7 years ago. And a young girl came by and she goes, "Oh, you're crocheting." I said, "No, I'm knitting." Very similar, but it's with 2 needles and crochet is just 1. She goes, "Oh, can I watch?" And I invited her to sit down. And that, in those days, I only had a little stash. And I actually had like remnants and several pairs of needles in my knitting bag that day. And I showed her how to knit. And I sent her on the way with the wool and the needles. I thought, it's a great way to get one more person into the community. There's a lot of people out there, I think, that would love to do this as a hobby, but maybe don't know where to start. Feel like it's an old ladies club, and it's not. So I challenge you to try to do something different on June the 10th. Go to the website. If there's a group near you, a great ready-made community. It might become weekly. It might become monthly. We all need the community. And on that note, I'll let you have a lovely little bike ride through Koreshan State Park. See you next time. Knit in peace. you.